Listen up now, it's time for a treat.
This is the Andre White Talk Show.
It's a call-in show. 404-355-8699 locally or 866-923-2860 out of town.
So what do you think?
Anything under the sun is fair game.
We talk about the issues. We talk about the things that are going to move this country forward.
Andre White tells it like it is.
Don't come in here with that.
No punches pulled.
Put on your big boy pants and stay on the porch.
One way or another,
Either you love him or you hate him.
the most important thing is,
From the White House to the outhouse, on Andre White Talks, we tell it like it is.
it's time for Andre White Talks on Love 860.
Welcome, everyone. This is Andre White. You're listening to Andre White Talks, and as always, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Wayfield Foods, Roberts Family Dental, and Precision Auto. Right now, we have Sammuel Leccima.
Yes, sir.
Who is, I guess the quick and easy way to describe it is he is an entrepreneur who's made it his business to inform and educate other entrepreneurs about the financial world that they inextricably are tied to.
Yeah, I'm the CEO of Get Access To Capital, getaccesstocapital.com, and we provide working capital to small businesses. So in a small note, businesses need money, and we got it.
And we got it. That's right. You know, it's funny because when we met, we talked about a great number of opportunities and realities in the business world, but we also talked about the fact that you have a book which is titled after your company or vice versa, Get Access To Capital.
Yes, sir.
The small business owner's blueprint to building in business credit.
Yes, sir.
Now, tell us why, and I've read through the book here and there, a couple chapters here, a couple chapters there. I haven't gotten all the way through. But I know that early in the book you talk about how critical it is for people that are engaged in business to have good business credit and how tricky it is to tie your personal credit into certain things.
Definitely. We have found after probably going through hundreds, if not close to 1,000 small business applications, we've started noticing a pattern. Most small business people tend to fund their businesses out of their pockets, and it limits their ability to grow. So mom and pop opened up a restaurant, and they're limited in growing their restaurant based on their personal credit, not realizing that there's an ability to build your business credit, and the requirements there are different. The access that you have is completely different. The amount of money that you'll be able to receive is way different.
So the more money, the more you grow and access proper business credit, the more of your personal money you keep in your pocket, and you create less liability for yourself financially, personally.
Yeah, and I'll give you one quick example because in one of my early morning meetings this morning exactly, speaking to a business owner that has poured $100,000 of their own money through credit cards into the business, and they need funding to expand the business that they're in. Herein lies the issue that he has.
First of all, he's already leveraged.
Way leveraged at very high interest rates on his FICO, on his personal credit score. He's been making payments, and his credit is still good, even though he's laid all of that money out. But 33% of your credit score is how much you use, right?
Okay.
And when you blow it out and you're constantly, like every entrepreneur, you use 100%, pay down 50%, lose 100%. Credit card companies and other lenders start to limit how much they give you because they're like, who's using this much personally? There are no such rules on the business side. If you have $100,000 in debt, but you've been paying on it, another lender will give you another $100,000. They just want to see that you're paying. You have an ability to get sometimes 4, 5, 10 times as much money if you have the proper business credit.
Now, obviously, this is a great problem for a great many new entrepreneurs that aren't educated in how this goes.
Yeah.
But aside from understanding business credit, what are some of the other traps that individuals fall into in starting a business?
Wow, that's a great question. One, not having a real plan going in. I find that a lot of small business owners come up with great ideas, very viable ideas. They were sitting around the table with their friends. They're like, man, I wonder if we could do X, Y, and Z. And a lot of times they just go out and start doing it, which is good in some situations, bad in most. Not having a real plan. Not understanding the game that they're about to go into. Like when I do seminars, when people invite me for speaking engagements, I tend to focus more on teaching people the game. Business is a game. It's no different than football. You're not going to succeed unless you know the rules.
Right. Right.
And if you know the rules, you now know what the parameters are, how flexible you are within those actual parameters. And I tell folks the first thing, and it usually shocks people, because I lend money. We lend out of our own funds sometimes, but we're usually brokering it out and all. But do you understand that every time you fill out an application, the very first thing that every lender does is what's called a business credibility test?
Okay.
Very quick. And by the way, we have a startup. I'm going to jump ahead real quick. We have a startup. If you go to the testimonials on my website, getaccesstocapital.com, click testimonials. We have a gentleman who was so excited because he didn't believe it was going to happen. He was a startup in September, completely brand new. Let's start with the nose. He had no revenue, no credit for the business, no office, no everything.
Right.
And I told him, I said, if you simply were to pass the business credibility test for a lot of small business lenders, you'd get funding. What is that? I'll give your audience a tip real quick today and all. Some actionable items that they can use right now today.
Right.
One, make sure that your company is registered with the Secretary of State, because everyone automatically goes to the Secretary of State to see if you're active. That's very quick. I have someone in my office that does that automatically. Would you believe most businesses get their applications declined right there because they either don't appear or they show as inactive? Number two, are you using a real business address? Not a P.O. box, not a UPS store, not your home. Would you believe that this wonderful tool called Google Earth will let us know exactly where your business is?
Exactly, right.
Right? We want to see, lenders in general want to see a business address. So we encourage everyone to go and get a virtual office of some kind and all. You know, spend $25, $35, $45, get a real address, and add to that, if you can afford, the secretarial service, because we want to make sure that your company's phone number shows up in National 411 online. That check is real quick. Just simple little things like that will let lenders know this person's running a real business.
Right.
And by the way, the gentleman who's a startup, we got him $71,000. If you watch his video, you will very clearly see how excited he was about that.
Right. Okay, beautiful. Well, you know, it's interesting because you mentioned an actual location of business. Now, a lot of businesses, startups, and people that just have a good idea may not have the money to have an office. What do you advise to them?
I tell them that before they go out and get funding business is great. I don't care if you're selling widgets or you're selling a service and stuff. A virtual office probably costs you anywhere from $50 to $99 a month. Go out and sell some of your widgets and get the tools that you need to build the business that you have. So startups need to have, and also larger business. I always tell folks, got to have a little bit of self-awareness. Right? Understand where you are in the marketplace and what you have the ability to go out and get.
Right.
You might have a need, but if you can't put yourself in a position to have someone help you to fulfill that need, you might need to focus on sales. I joked with another client yesterday who needed some money, a new client. He's like, man, I'm buried under this debt, personal credit cards. He's like, man, is there any way that we could refinance this and move it over to my business? And I told him, I said, when I looked at his numbers, which are good, I was like, you don't have a debt problem. You have a revenue problem. Go out and sell some more and stuff so that we can put you in a position in terms of revenue for having someone lend against your revenue.
Well, now, you know, in financing businesses, and you just talked about some very basic things that a business should have. The next thing that I find that people are not so aware of, able to, or fear, so that's a business plan.
Yeah.
You know, does every business need a business plan? How for a person who says, "Hey, man, I'm a plumber."
Yeah.
I plumb.
I love that question. I love that question because I've been caught in my own seminars or speaking engagements. Telling folks, their business plan is it, because real entrepreneurs just go out there and do it. Like you and I were talking about before.
Right.
Man, it's about knocking on doors.
Right.
If you're an entrepreneur, man, it's about going out and just getting the business done. Here's the reality when you get to a lender. Lenders tend to be a little bit more conservative, even if they are entrepreneurs like myself. All a business plan is a roadmap for you to follow. If you cannot very clearly state to someone that you're asking for some money, here's my idea, here's who my customer base is, this is the product, this is how much I charge them, this is how much money I make off of it, and if I sell X, 100, 1,000, 10,000, I'm going to make this much revenue. It's really that simple.
Okay.
And now, as someone sitting on the other side of the table, I get to look and stuff, and we always say that, you bet on the jockey, not the horse, but the horse still needs to run, right?
Exactly
So
right.
I'm looking at the horse, and I'm saying, okay, this looks like a good horse. If you can actually do these things, we might be able to do something.
Right.
My next thing is looking at the jockey. Does the jockey have the work ethic? They actually believe in the business enough? Do they have the experience? Have they done this before?
Right.
Do they have the hustle?
Right.
I mean, I like guys that come in talking about what they've already done
Right.
and stuff. So, yeah, the business plan in some way, shape, or form is important. It's simply a roadmap that you give to other people when you're not there, showing them where you're at, where you know you're going to be, and the fact that you know how to get there.
So you have to do a great deal of educating.
Totally.
I mean, some people they have a good business. Maybe they want to grow. They want to do whatever, and they need your help. But the educational part, as you said, you have to understand the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And so, what I find interesting is that oftentimes people, and particularly in our community, may not know where to go and get some of the more easily digestible information like what you just gave as to how to get out of the gate.
Yeah. So what's funny? The larger company that we do business under is actually my holding company, Leccima Capital Partners. Doesn't sound too sexy or exciting. We created Get Access to Capital as a separate company to provide the education to small business people because I got tired of seeing applications come through and realizing this person could have gotten funded only if they only knew X. And I realized the more that I spoke, that people didn't know, so we published a book. So one, folks can go to our site and get it for free. All they got to do is pay for shipping, getaccesstocapital.com. But more importantly than that, on the right side of the page, if they put their name and email in, a few times a week, we drop new information in a digestible form that they can absorb and learn what it takes. Because I give information based off of being the guy on the other side of the table. Business owners tell me all the time, I've never run into someone who lends money like you. Because I give them information based on what we do on a daily basis and stuff, If they're on Facebook, make sure they go to our Facebook page, which is simply Get Access to Capital. Starting next week, we're dropping videos almost every couple of days that will just simply educate people.
Beautiful.
And they'll get to see our office and how we work and all that stuff.
Okay. Well, so you gave them your Facebook, you gave them your website. Is there a number that you care to give?
Oh, most definitely. If you are a small business owner right now and are in need of funding, call our office directly, 678-638-6231. One of our account reps will get back to you and help you out. But, one of the biggest things that I could tell everyone is many small business owners are missing out on the hugest opportunity to grow that's out there. They think that there's not a lot of money out there or it's difficult to get to. I tell them there's an oceans full of money. The amount that we have access to is so large that I won't say it here on the radio. But I will give you an example. I
don't want people blowing my phone
no,
up if they didn't already get it.
But I'll give you an example. We have a government contractor in Louisiana, a minority-owned company, just won an award for a $2.67 million contract. They needed $500,000 in order to get the contract started and stuff. We got them in the process, got them approved. Yesterday, we get a call from them saying, oh, my goodness, the contract requires us to be bonded. All right, cool. Where's your bond? It costs $65,000 for us to get the bond. This morning, we had one of our lenders give them a call and say, we just need you to forward some paperwork. We're going to have the money for you on Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Get access to capital. People do not understand that they're...
I hope that guy buys you a Christmas gift.
He need to. But the thing is, a lot of small business owners don't know, and we're here not only, obviously, we want them to do business with us and stuff, but we want them to educate themselves so no matter where they go, they'll be prepared to get the money that they need.
Well, Samuel, I certainly appreciate you coming on the show. I'd love to ask you to come back at other times when we have other financial issues and actually socioeconomic issues, because there's a portion of this that affects the socioeconomics and policies and politics
Yes.
of a community
Can't wait to talk about that.
we need to be educated on, and how to politicize our dollars, or how to make our dollars make better sense in what we do
Very
in the
much
community.
so. Yeah, we need to vote with our dollars.
Vote with our dollars. That's right. So here again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Well, here again, here at the Andre White Talk Show, we like to think that we engage in compelling conversations and informations that can move a listener forward in any number of issues. We started off today's show talking about Bill Maher using the N-word in a show, and what should happen with him, given the fact that the black community and or liberal community has been so unforgiving to other people for having made some socio-political missteps, or for words or social insensitivities relevant to women, gays, blacks, or otherwise. But is it something that Bill Maher should get a pass because he's supported the black community or Obama or liberals or whatever it is? And as I said earlier, I think in the face of being consistent in how we talk about certain injustices, that justice, if in fact we're doling out that justice has to be doled out equitably. And so, sad to say, love Bill Maher, but I think if we would ask somebody else to be off the air at that time for having done a similar thing, I think it's consistent to say that Bill Maher should probably be off the air when you consider what we've done and how we've gone at so hard, so many other people that have done some things. And then later on in the show, when we had Reverend Love on, we talked about the social initiatives that the Concerned Black Clergy has been a part of, and one that's coming up on July 8th is one of economics. So I'm going to ask my man Samuel to put that on his calendar and sit back and listen to what's going on, because there are a lot of people in a community that not only are we suffering from a lack of businesses in our communities to support our community, but even I've always said that the biggest problem in the black community in particular is a loss of resources. That's personal, that's financial, that's through a person's example of just being and living in the community. There are so many things that we can do in our community. The larger community, or conservatives like to say, you got to pick yourself up by your own bootstrap. Well, damn it, for so long, this community's not had any bootstraps. But what we do have is a collective wisdom and resources that we have to make a better use out of. We have to lean on one another for what we ourselves may not know. And I think that's the essential message that I wanted to convey in having Mr. Sammuel Leccima on. And discussing the fact that if you have a business and you want to get started and you need to you may not know, but call the Andre White Show. We can get you the help that you need, and we can make some things happen for you. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. This is Andre White, and you're listening to Andre White Talks.